Hey everyone, here's my final presentation on evaluation through appreciative inquiry. Just a brief background of what appreciative inquiry is, or AI as I'll refer to it, is that it's a strategy for purposeful change. It takes what currently is and tries to maximize it to what it could be. So it's always looking to get the most out of what already exists. But in order to do that, it needs a couple of really important things. It needs cooperation, it needs passion, and that passion needs to lead to inspiration. And all of that passion, inspiration, and cooperation needs to be centered around positivity. That's probably one of the biggest tenets of appreciative inquiry, is the amount of positivity that it generates in a community. Uh, those individuals who started developing appreciative inquiry came up with a set of 8 core principles um, that appreciative inquiry was going to center itself around, and that it took as a part of it um, to develop as a system of evaluation. And I won't go through each one, but on the screen you can always pause it and read this. However, I will mention that one of the biggest things to actually using appreciative inquiry through evaluation is the 4 I's in which it centers itself around. There's inquire, and that's discovering what is best. What should be the best way to go about evaluating something. Then imagining, creating a vision of what might be. Again, we're going to maximize what's already there. We're going to, after we figure out what it is through the inquire um, stage, and then we're going to innovate. We're going to come up with a plan of action, uh, seeing this vision come to fruition. And then last but not least, we're going to implement it. We're actually going to do it and see if it works. And so I thought to take those 4 I's, they're best suited to look at it through an actual case study of a learning technology that I myself am working with right now. And when I mean by learning technology, I mean basically a broad term for any innovation in communication and information that helps support learning, teaching, and assessment. And the case study I'm going to center around is a software program called Fast Forward. And this is a program meant to strengthen and develop attention, memory, processing, and language development for students. And then hopefully those qualities would help improve their academic capacity in all their school subjects. And so again, when we inquire, what are we going to be centering our evaluation on? It's whether or not Fast Forward is capable of developing the cognitive skills that it says, and then whether or not those skills will transfer themselves to the classroom and on any local and state mandated testing. And then the people who are in charge of taking on this responsibility are different levels of stakeholders. We have the primary stakeholders that would be our district as a whole, namely through the superintendent of the school board. The secondary stakeholders, the local administration and staff, and as well as the students who will be using the software, and the tertiary stakeholders, which would be the Oak Park community and the parents. And so when we're already looking at what we already have and making it better, we have a few key questions that we need to ask. So we already know that Fast Forward is supposed to do a certain amount of things. So the first thing we're going to ask is, does Fast Forward actually motivate students enough to successfully complete its 12-week course? Then we wanted to investigate whether or not, now that we have Fast Forward, how difficult is the implementation process going to be? How easy is it going to be to get the necessary software, hardware, and other devices that we're going to need in order to successfully implement Fast Forward? And last but not least, does Fast Forward actually show noticeable improvement from an academic standpoint in the students? And so the implementation phase of how we're going to carry about this evaluation are through three ways: interviews, surveys, and an analysis of fast forwards built-in analytics. And so the sample questions that fall under the survey portion, at least, you'll notice that they're all worded very positively. Because again, that's very important for fast forward. And you'll also notice that there's a big emphasis on values and achievements, always looking at what is and how can we make it better. And the interview portion, I decided to use a Likert scale, and again, everything's worded very positively, and in the hopes that it gets also people to kind of internalize the question and think deeply, because AI does require some thoughtful processing of the information in order to get an accurate sense of what's working. And lastly, here are some of the analytics that Fast Forward provide. And so just as a brief wrap up, some of the things I learned through this course and about appreciative inquiry in general are that it takes time and practice to get used to. I think most people, when it comes to evaluation, tend to always want to look at what doesn't work and how can we fix it. AI is the total opposite. They want to know what is working, how can we make it better, and hopefully once we do that, it'll have an effect and everything around it, bringing that up with it. So that's definitely something that I had to get used to. But that goes without saying that the positive nature of AI was pretty refreshing, and especially from a school standpoint. Schools really need positivity, so it was refreshing to see that, because through evaluation, if it's going to work and if actually things are going to change, people have to be inspired. And it's really hard to inspire people if you're always focused on negativity. So that's definitely a plus for appreciative inquiry. Probably the one negative I had on it was that all the literature I read on appreciative inquiry all stated the same thing, but there's not a ton of critical inquiry on AI yet, meaning that someone needs to evaluate the evaluation. Someone needs to actually look at AI, see if it's working, how to do better, just critically analyze it a little bit more. So that's definitely something that I would, say needs to improve with appreciative inquiry. But like I said, out of all that, it is a pretty promising method of evaluation for learning technologies and for education in general, just because of its positive nature and its focus on visions in community and making things better as a whole. Okay? Thank you.